All right, all right. It's quite odd. I'm outside with a microphone instead of being inside. My name is Winslow. Winslow is my name, and if your name was Winslow, then our names would be the same. For like the one other person that's watching this, the name might be Winslow. Salute. There's got to be a few of us. Anyway, it's been a minute, but this is a video where I'm going to go over a few things I think we can learn from Workforce. All right, now sometime, what was it, last year before, we heard that Spectrasoul split up. And what we got from that was Workforce. We got Jack, now known as Workforce. He's been killing it this past year. Started with late night soundtracks, parts 1 through 3. Then as Your Moves EP on Exit, which is amazing. And I feel like at this point, his name really stands on its own. Not that it didn't at first, but you know, if you listen to his podcast, listen to any of his interviews, it's always, hey, I'm Jack, one half of Spectrasoul. But now it's just like, I feel like he can just say, I'm Workforce. Name speaks for itself. Definitely. To get into things, the first point I want to get into is I think that he shows like the perfect blueprint of how to launch as an independent artist, like covering all his bases, from the music, the promo, the artwork, the scheduling, the label stuff, the business, the blah, blah, blah. Perfect, in my opinion. So the first late night soundtrack was May 30th, 2019. And up before that, you know, he had plenty of promo and whatnot about, hey, this is my new name. This is how things are going to go from now. Then, you know, launches his first EP under Workforce. Then a few months later, second one's come out. A few months later, was it Exit EP? Yep, Exit EP was after soundtrack 2. Then you have soundtrack 3. Then a few months later after that, you have the full late night soundtrack album, LP, whatever you want to call it. A few more extra tracks in there. And I feel like if you look at each release and the whole, I guess, string of releases as a whole, it's like a perfect blueprint for anyone to follow. Like after you get your tracks done, you get your music done, you want to set a release date. You want to build up some hype before that. You want to create a cohesive visual style for everything. Not necessarily that it has to be consistent throughout the whole thing. Like all his artworks, anyway, are consistent with the same design, different color. It can be simple as that. For another example, mine, when I was, not that I have stopped, but when I was doing more self-released EPs, it was always the W plain background, something inside, some kind of pattern, whatever, inside that. Piece of cake. You could do it too. Yeah, now I know like a caveat of that is he was Spectrasoul for 10 plus years. Signed to Shogun, albums, list loads of releases, tours. He's got connections, he got know-how, but it's still got a plan to do. You can take his approach, and I made a bigger like write-up about this that'll probably be on my Patreon later. Quick plug, that's how you segue. If you want to support this, anything else, it's all supported by you. This channel is sponsored by Patreon, not Skillshare, NordVPN. I don't know what the other ones are, but you know what I mean. Also, if you go to my Bandcamp, buy a tune, that's cool too. I got this shirt. Must Make Music, by the way. Shout out Workforce again. On Bandcamp, you can get a sticker of mine on Bandcamp. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. You can take his approach and scale it down to something that fits you. So maybe you don't want to release like a 4-track EP every few months. You'll just want to do one. Boom. What day is it today? August 4th. So let's say August 24th. Okay, that'd be kind of soon. September 1st. There you go. That's when you schedule a track to come out. So this week, today, tune's got to be done. It's got to be mastered. Basically, all that good stuff. Design some artwork. Pick your date, your distribution, that kind of thing. Schedule that out of the way. Now, in a week's up until then, schedule your promo. Maybe release a clip. Maybe release a video thing. Maybe just a little quick blast on social media. Like, hey, got a track coming out. Now I know you might be like, Winslow, I'm really small. No one knows who I am. Blah, 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 blah. And you know, that's true. It might be true. It's true for me. I know how it is. You can still do it. And even if it doesn't yield the same effect as somebody of, you know, his notoriety, it's a good process to get in hand to when you do gain a little bit of momentum, when you do start working with, you know, bigger teams of people who will then, I guess they'll take care of it all for you at that point, so it doesn't really matter. But you'll know. The more you know, the better off you'll be. And you'll also know when somebody's making a mistake that you're working with, because you won't just be relying on them. Another quick fact. I wouldn't say pro tip because I'm not necessarily a pro just yet. But anyway, so yeah, wrap that up. I think he's one of many artists that you can look to as how to launch and move as an independent artist yourself. So, or you can always just ask me. That's cool too. All right, on to my next point. I think Workforce shows a good way how to stay creative outside of music. What do I mean by that? He has a Must Make Music podcast and various other things I'll get into. It's good to have an outlet outside of music, outside of something you put so much time into. It's just good to have a thing outside that you can break away from. You can relax your mind, take your mind off things, whatever you want to call it. You can just do it. Could be watching TV, playing video games. Like, for example, he's got the Must Make Music podcast, where he's interviewed D-Bridge, LSB, DRS, Sinistar. I know I'm forgetting one. D-Bridge, LSB, Sinistar. Alex Perez. There we go. And talks about the process, talks about their process, what influences them, all these things that I think you can look at as enrichment or whatnot that go along with producing, writing music, and DJing. His other stuff he's doing, he has background in graphic design, as you may know from the artwork he puts out, or his Instagram stories, how he's learning After Effects and things like that to make a lot of the promo material for his tunes. I think that's really awesome. It's something I want to get into. I mean, for another example, more personal, I make these videos because I always got stuff to talk about, stuff on my mind. I'm like, well, no one around here to talk about it with, so I might as well talk about it with you. I'm glad you're listening, by the way. Or photography is a thing of mine. A lot of artists cook. Some people run labels. It's all outside but connected to the music part that we put so much time and effort into, and I feel like he's a good example, or a good public example, because he puts these things on like Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. Anyway, one more thing. I think this goes with his podcast, is the idea of focusing on the process. The process. And I literally say this in almost every video, so if you haven't picked up, or you're new here, get used to it, or get on it. The process is just so much more important than, what plugin do you use? How did you process this space? Blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter in the end. What matters is so much more the ideas, how you got there, the story of the song, your story, I don't know, something like that. I feel like that's much more important than beard stroking over what EQ you use and how you notched the 3K instead of 3.5K because it really brought out the color in your eyes when you were crying because your tune still is terrible and your snare sucks. Trademark Siren. Focusing on the process has helped me so much more than any how-to, any sound-focused, anything like that tutorial. And I really feel, I'm checking the time by the way, I really feel that it's so much more important and a big thing that all of us should focus on more, just more. How much? I don't know. It's something you'll see people on any like creative front talk about, whether they just be like visual artists, filmmakers, that's probably the same thing, other musicians, writers, I don't know, anything, just thinkers, people who think. They're like, the process, this is what got me here and this is how I got there and I came up with this. Like, no one cares about your plugins. We all have the same thing. They all do the same thing with different UI, so who cares? I said it. Your snare sucks, by the way. It's not your fault. You're just not noisier, basically. Anyway, that's basically all I got to talk about. And I have recruited some friends to talk about what they like about Workforce. Everything I'm talking about here. Some points I didn't hit on. Probably. I haven't seen the videos because people take so long to send me things. So I didn't get to watch them before I talked. But anyway, here's people who aren't me.
Yo, once again, this is Siren making a cameo appearance on the Winslow's Videos, one thing I've learned, mix downs. Really rate his mix downs, especially on the high end. It's always nice and smooth and balanced, not too harsh. So definitely check out the high end on all of his stuff. Definitely one for referencing.
I'm Jake and I go by Flickr as a producer alias. A few things I like about Workforce is I think he hits that perfect middle ground with a lot of his tunes where it's like the perfect blend of heavy elements as well as melodic and liquid elements. So they're really good tunes to be able to blend and transition between like heavier and lighter subgenres. If you look at like when he's half of Spectrasoul, you can say the same. They just hit that energetic and heavier liquid vibe really nicely. Cheers.
Hey guys, Ecomatics here. The first thing that comes to mind for me is the song Fragments. When I first heard that, the drums, just how crisp they are, that vocal that just rolls over top. And then really on the second half where it just changes up and you get this incredible bass that just comes in and hits you hard. I mean, every time I hear that song, I get goosebumps. Absolutely love it. And then him personally as an individual, from what I've read in interviews, it's just, he's a hustler. You know, he's constantly pushing himself to learn and to expand his knowledge and his craft. And there's something about that I just find very inspiring. Thank you, Workforce, for everything you've done, for the incredible tracks that you've provided, and for your words of encouragement as well. Peace out.
This is Harry Ransom, and one of the things I take away from the Must Make podcast through all the episodes so far, plus Jack's Instagram, Twitter, the Facebook group, it takes a lot of work for a very long time. And even then, that doesn't alleviate the self-doubt, questioning, challenges, and excitement too. So that's one thing that I've noticed with all the guests. There's a lot of work, a lot of thought, a lot of overthinking, a lot more work, and sometimes they share what they've finished, and there's probably a lot that they don't share.
Yeah, he's all right.
All right, great points, everyone. See how I did that segue? Anyway, so yeah, to wrap this up, I'm a huge fan of Workforce. Obviously, I bought a shirt. For those who really care, yes, I bought the shirt. No, he didn't send it to me. We're not that cool yet. At some point, we might be. But, you know, dreams can happen. Yeah, that's all I got this time around. Let me know how you like this being outside. Let me know how the audio was. I know future Winslow has cleaned it up to try to get rid of all the lawnmowers and stuff in the background. But yeah, my leg's falling asleep, so I'm about done here. Yeah, if you want to get involved in the community segment of these videos, reach out to me for a link to the Discord. I have disabled the public one because I don't want it to turn into D&B talk, basically. Reach out to me. Reach out to anybody that was on the Winslow and Friends project, and they can also give you links. Yeah, feel free to reach out, ask questions, put what you think about Workforce in the comments. Really love what he's doing. Like, I could talk about him more, but for the sake of YouTube, I'm just gonna keep it down to however long this is now. So yeah, I'm Winslow, and that's all I gotta say today. I'll see you hopefully next week, but I'll say next time just to add a little bit of ambiguity and make sure I don't have to stick on the schedule too hard. Anywho, got a track, an EP coming out August 14th. If you made it this far, check it out. It's Home Alone EP, Code Recordings. There we go. I swear, it's like the first time I try and do something outside, someone is just yapping next door. What the fuck? Technical difficulties.